Well, good evening from London. Welcome to Piers Morgan Uncensored. Harry and Meghan, currently the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, famously gushed about their love of chickens in one of the more saccharine moments of their Oprah Winfrey sobfest. Well, the chickens are now coming home to roost for these two, the royal family.
Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, names that used to make people happy. Oh no, they cause lots of arguments. Right in the middle of all this is Piers Morgan, a famous news guy known for saying exactly what he thinks. What's he saying now? He's saying Harry and Meghan left the royal family just to get rich. This has made a lot of people in Britain and all over the world really angry. It's made everyone start talking again about why Harry and Meghan left and what they're really up to. Morgan, who loves a good fight, has been talking bad about Harry and Meghan ever since they left the UK. He thinks their Netflix shows, Spotify podcasts and other deals are just ways to get money. He says they're using their royal titles to get rich, which hurts the royal family. Morgan's words are harsh. He makes it sound like Harry and Meghan only care about money and are willing to hurt their family to get it. A lot of people who already don't like Harry and Meghan agree with Morgan. But is he right? Or is he just trying to cause trouble to get attention for himself? People who like Harry and Meghan say they're just trying to live their own lives without all the royal rules. They talk about Harry and Meghan's charity work, like helping people with mental health problems and speaking up for important causes. This, they say, shows that Harry and Meghan really want to make the world a better place. They say Harry especially never liked all the attention from the British newspapers, and it got worse after he got married.
Kept a stoic silence as the poison darts rained down from their Californian pedestal, but King Charles is quietly and devastatingly taking charge now. We now know that he booted the couple out of their palatial Frogmore cottage just 24 hours after Harry's book Spare, or Spare Me as I call it, was published. We also now know that Harry and Meghan's popularity is cratered on both sides of the Atlantic, with polls showing even Prince Andrew is now more popular than they are in America, as well as now being offered the keys to their house. And we also now know that in America, where they've strained every sinew to become much-loved celebrities, they're actually viewed like this.
So let me start with you, Sam. You've lived a life with the royal family, you've had everything handed to you, but you say your life has been hard, and now you've written all about it in your new book, Wah. Yes, that's right, friend. You see, my wife and I are totally like, you should write a book because your family like stupid, and then so are like journalists.
There's now a clear divide in the royal family, the workers and the shirkers, the heavy lifters and the grifters. The Prince and Princess of Wales saluted Welsh Guards yesterday at St David's Day Parade. Camilla, the Queen Consort, recovering from a recent bout of COVID, was promoting children's literature. King Charles is preparing to make state visits to Germany and France in his first royal tour as monarch. Meghan Markle, meanwhile, made a state visit to a coffee shop which sells superfood lattes inspired by holistic ingredients from around the world. And Prince Harry had another outing on US late-night television, the leftovers of a previous interview taped on his self-pity tour.
Harry, what is the best sandwich?
I would say a cheese and ham toastie with Dijon mustard on top.
And a toasty means grilled? Is that what that means?
Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
Unbelievable. That guy's sixth in line to the throne. On Saturday, he's at it again, flogging tickets to a digital seminar on family trauma. His trauma from his $13 million California mansion. You have to pay $33, by the way, to tune in online to see him banging on about his trauma again and what a victim he is and how it's all so beastly and unfair that he's making hundreds of millions fleecing his royal titles without doing any royal duty for it. But that's his level now, isn't it, for Harry? A gossiping gutter snipe, selling out his family to the highest bidders, a wannabe reality star, but that star is fading fast. Harry and Meghan think they can carry on having their royal cake and eating it, using those royal titles, like I say, while abusing the institution that afforded them those titles. And as usual, I'm afraid, they're wrong. And King Charles is right to draw the curtain on this ludicrous soap opera. On May the 6th, the King has his coronation. It will be one of the most important moments in modern British history. And the very last thing we need or want are the Duke and Duchess of Sussex current titles, rocking up with their camera crews to distract attention and get more material for their next act of money-grabbing betrayal. Next week, 2,000 invitations will be sent out. In my view, it's time for Charles to be firm and make sure they're not on that list. Well, joining me now is the Sun Royal editor, Matt Wilkinson, political journalist, Ava Santina, plus author and columnist, Maureen Callum. Well, welcome to all of you. Let me start with you, Matt. Great scoop. I mean, this was a proper eye-popping scoop, particularly now that we know that the order to evict Harry and Meghan from Frogmore Cottage came from King Charles within 24 hours of the launch of Spare back on January the 10th.
Yeah, no, it's astonishing. I mean, Charles, I see it as he's acted very quickly, very decisively. Particularly, it was so close till after Spare, and he's seen the family's traumas, the family splits, everything that's happened with Meghan and Harry and Andrew that kind of poisoned the last 3 or 4 years of the Queen's reign, sadly. And you could say that Charles has finally, by kicking them out of Frogmore, he's kind of finally delivered Megxit.
Now, I don't suppose you'll lose much sleep over Meghan Markle disappearing out of Frogmore Cottage. He probably will lose some sleep over this action in relation to his son, because he's his son.
It's very sad that it's got to this stage, isn't it, really? I mean, we're always told, and he has shown as well, that we're always told that he dearly loves his son, and the door is always open to his son. When Harry came over recently, they came over, Meghan and they came over and they met at Clarence House. And I think it's an intense disappointment and sadness for Charles that it has actually got to this stage, yes.
Let's bring in Maureen Callum from across the pond over in East Hampton. Maureen, thank you for joining us. I was staggered last week to see a poll that said that Meghan and Harry, since the release of this book and the Netflix documentary, are now less popular in the US than Prince Andrew. I mean, that was jaw-dropping.
Oh, Piers, it's remarkable, really. There's no love lost here for Prince Andrew, believe me. I think the real sort of final wallop to their reputation here, one that leaves no doubt where the bulk of the American public stands on these two, was the South Park episode. So for the South Park episode to air and it went viral and people could not stop talking about it, to then be followed up with this incredibly, it's a sad decision, but it feels very necessary for King Charles to remove them, to send a clear message that what you are doing and what you are continuing to do, as you pointed out, with this Saturday's upcoming Winjathon online for $33.99, with pre-vetted questions, no live comments. I do believe that's King Charles saying, there are more things we can take away from you if you do not stop harming this family.
Right, I completely agree. Well, look, Ava, you're in the unenviable position of trying to defend these two, because I think pretty much everyone else we tried to get to do it didn't want to know. I mean, they've lost even their keenest supporters. Are you still standing in Team Sussex?
Look, I have never been Team Sussex. I've always been Team anti-monarchy and anti-royal, and I don't think that any of them actually have a place at the top of the hierarchy in the UK anymore. I think it's outrageous that they even had entitlement still to this cottage. I mean, when they renovated it, they charged £3 million to the taxpayer, which I know they eventually paid back. But the idea that £3 million was taken away, potentially from paying nurses, from paying teachers, and re-wallpapering that cottage.
Well, the truth about the royal family is, though, that the costs of maintaining the royal family are offset by the money they bring in. Oh, they are.
Oh, come on. It's just so ridiculous.
They're offset by the money that comes in, particularly from tourism.
Listen, people come in because they know. People like to see Buckingham Palace. They like to see. They like to see the relics of our monarchy past.
Is your physical distress tonight because you were at the Arsenal-Everton game last night?
I am crying, yeah, I am.
Have you been crying ever since?
I have been, yeah. That was the 100th time that Arsenal have beat Everton that last night. That was really quite upsetting.
Booting last night. So I just want to make sure you're OK.
Thank you.
Seem a little delicate tonight. But the point about the monarchy, though, is you're wrong about that, because you may not like the idea of it, that's fine, but they don't actually cost the country any money. They're a net positive.
They cost the country a fortune, and Prince Charles has a lot of his own money. Prince Charles has a lot of his own money, actually enough to sustain himself. He does not need to be taking money off the taxpayers to live his life.
You can keep telling me they cost a lot of money. They don't.
OK,
They are
could
a
you
net
tell me how they
positive.
don't?
Tourism is...
But they would come without them.
Matt?
They would come to see the castles.
But it's also the incredible good work that they do, not for their own benefit, but for the benefit of the country. They don't have to go out and work for do all this wonderful work for charities. They don't have to go out and raise lots of profile for charities.
You would do it?
They're not doing it for their own personal gain. They're doing it because they're members of the royal family.
You can't even go to a football match without getting upset.
I would happily read a book today like Camilla did and then get to live in a palace off the back of that.
It's a lot harder job than that.
Camilla's been to prisons and read books.
I'll do that.
Also, every tiny spit and cough of your private life would be spattered across the papers. Would you be comfortable with that?
Fine. Fine. Really? It's so boring.
Well,
anyway.
Given I failed to even rally a tiny slither of support from you for the Sussexes, that's all, obviously the woke crowd have all abandoned them.
They think moving to California and making deals with Netflix and Spotify lets Harry and Meghan tell their own story. Plus, they say, other royals have done business stuff too. Prince Edward worked in TV before he became a full-time royal. Princess Beatrice works in finance, so being royal and having a job isn't that weird. To really understand why Morgan is so mad, we need to look at how his relationship with Harry and Meghan has changed. It used to be good. Morgan even went to their wedding in 2018. But things went downhill when Harry and Meghan started to pull away from the royal family. Morgan said they were being two-faced, wanting the good parts of being royal without the hard parts. When they left their royal jobs in 2020 and moved to California, things got even worse. Morgan became one of their biggest critics, saying they were letting down the Queen and only cared about being famous and rich. His attacks got really personal, especially towards Meghan. Some people agree with Morgan. They like that he says what he thinks, even if it's about powerful people. They think he's protecting traditional British values. Other people think Morgan is a bully who uses his power to hurt Harry and Meghan, who just want to be left alone. They think he just wants more viewers and attention. This fight between Piers Morgan and Harry and Meghan is bigger than just gossip. It makes us think about what the royal family should be like today, how the news should talk about famous people and how to handle fame and money online. Only time will tell what happens next and how this will change the British royal family.